Hey everyone, it's Jerry here. I'm joined today by Wessel. In this video, we're walking through on how to enable emails on your ServiceNow instance. It sounds simple, but it's a mission critical for notifications, approvals, and updates. But we want to do a quick shout out to Yash Kumar for sharing a brilliant step-by-step post on this topic. And we'll link it in the description. But I'm going to hand over to Wessel and let him do the drive-in.
Yes, thank you very much, Jerry. Yes, so today we're going to show you how to set up receiving and sending emails in your PDI, your personal developer instance. I'm also going to show you how to set it up in a customer instance. It looks a little bit different. Most of it is already enabled, but just to give you a quick view on that. Also nice to notice is that emails receiving and sending was disabled on most PDIs, or actually on all PDIs, I believe, since the London release. But now with Zurich, it's back on. So good for us. We can do some playing around with it. What you can also see on my screen is within the PDI, it has a fresh look and feel now with the Zurich release. And I must say, it looks pretty good. There is a new way how you can manage your instance, which is the screen you see now. And if you want to enable your email here, you go next to your instance URL, there is a setting button. If you click on it and you go to manage your email properties, you get another window where you can click the toggle to enable email sending and receiving. If you turn it on, it will work. And if you follow the same steps as we will show you today, you will be successful in sending and receiving your emails. Just for this purpose, we have set up a Gmail account for our channel. And if you go into manage your Google account, you will be able to search for app passwords in your search bar, and you will get to this section where you can create an app password. You just need to create a name for the app. So for this purpose, I just named it ServiceNow Dev, and it will display on your screen an app password. Save it well because you're going to need it for setting up the email sending and receiving in your ServiceNow instance. Besides that, you also need to go to your settings. Click on see all settings, and on forwarding and pop emap, you can just make sure that you have the same settings as I have here on the screen. But like I mentioned, there is an entire documentation created where all the steps that we are going through today are mentioned. So yes, Yash Kumar created this document, so very well done. So once you have all these settings in your Gmail, in this case, we can move forward to your PDI. If you have a different supplier for your email, let's say you have Outlook or whatever, there are different pages online where you can find all the settings that you need for your POP3 or emap. If we then go into our instance, you go to all and you search for email. Under administration, you need to go to email accounts. And in here, I have created, oh no, these are the emails. I will go to email accounts. In here, you can create the POP3 and the SMTP. And like I mentioned, these are for Gmail. So the POP3, you can just give it a name. The server is pop.gmail.com. And here you put your username, which is your Gmail email account, and the password that you just created in the app password. And your port is mentioned right here. For SMTP, same thing, same username and password. It's just a different port and a different server because, of course, it is SMTP. But like I mentioned, if you are on a customer instance, you can go to your email settings. Oh, this doesn't work. Okay, let's go to email properties. If you go in your menu under email account, it says email properties. You'll go into this page And here you have the checkboxes: email sending enabled and email receiving enabled. Checked is yes, and disabled is no or unchecked. And for non-production testing, you can send all the email to the test email address. I think a lot of people are familiar with this if you're using a development or a test instance. Most of the people and companies are using this to just test out their outgoing and incoming emails, and you can set up a whole bunch of things right in here. Um, in the emails, so I here am in my mailbox of the received emails, where you can see currently we only have one email that we have received in our mailbox so far, which is correct, because if I go into my mailbox, you see the same email pop up here. But now I'm going to send, as we speak, an email from my personal email account to this account. So just give it a few seconds, and it will pop up. Normally it's yes, it is sent. All right, so let me see how quickly this will go. There it is. Email sent by me, and we are live. Hello, Wessel and Jerry. This is pretty cool. Yes, it is pretty cool. But this is basic because we're just sending an email to another email address, which everybody knows. But now we're going to refresh here. It says a lot of other emails, not the one yet that I want to see.
It normally takes
Yeah, it takes.
either a minute or so for the mail service to kind of process, and I suppose I'm really kind of glad that there's the capability for emails to send and receive, because I remember obviously before they removed this capability, um, when we always had like use cases that we had to test, we had to have a way to be able to test it to be sent to another mailbox just so we know it's working. Because sometimes to try and test it in production, you just don't know what's going to happen. And what you don't want is like 50 or 100 of emails going into production. And I've heard some horror stories where maybe other customers have had that before. So it's really good just having that kind of test scenario, especially like in your development and also tests. I always do it in both, so just to make sure you're double testing. I don't know whether Wes or you do that as well.
Yes, absolutely. Because what you absolutely want to avoid is if you have a go live or you're having some new functionality that you're going to bring to your production instance that has some notifications attached, that even before the go live, all of a sudden people already start receiving
Yes.
a lot of notifications on it. It
Yeah.
happens. It happens. Um, so let's just refresh it again. Yes,
We are
here's our
live.
email.
Here it is. Yeah.
All right, so it recognizes that it's me because it's linked to my user account in our PDI.
Hmm.
The subject, we are live recipients, is our email address. And it says in the body in HTML, it says the same message. So let's go to our service operations workspace, or SOW, which again receives a new look and feel. Even on the sidebar, ServiceNow did some upgrades on the coloring. It looks pretty neat. And if we go into our list and we go into our incidents, you can see that there is a new incident with the email that we have just sent. Hello, Wessel and Jerry. This is pretty cool. And the short description is the subject: we are live. And that's basically what you need to do for setting up the email. But how did it get here? Well, actually, that's pretty easy, because I'm going to show you the workflow studio, with the simple flow that I created just for this demo purposes. Here it is, email demo flow. So what you can do with the inbound emails, besides what a lot of people are still doing with the inbound email actions, you can actually build a workflow in the workflow studio and use the inbound email as a trigger. And then in this case, the recipients, I can mention it's hrxitunplugged@gmail.com, which is our mailbox. You can add multiple recipients here. So you can specify it based on the email box that you are receiving in your ServiceNow instance. And then the actions based on the email that it receives. You can say, I wanted to create an incident. The short description is the subject of the email. The description is the body text of the inbound email. I want to give it a priority, and the caller is from the inbound email, the user ID. So here it says the trigger. So it fetches all the information from the inbound email. That is also the same as the trigger itself. But you could also do this for other tables. If I want to create for HR a case, I can do the same. Or for customer service management, I can create the things. I can even create a universal request if I would like to. So there are a lot of options that you can do from this. And this is basically a very easy setup, how you can receive the emails and turn it into an incident or another record in your ServiceNow instance. And that's how simple it is, Jerry.
You know what? That's really, really good to see. And I think, especially for my role, if I'm speaking to the business stakeholders and some of the requirements come through. So, an example use cases, if we get an email come through, maybe it's a security or monitoring issue, rather than it, a ticket just comes in and someone else has to pick up, we can automate that. We can automate that with, I suppose, the correct priority, the correct assignment group, and again, we could do things clever like assign. I think assign like CIs, correct CIs as well. So this is really good to see.
Yeah, and it's pretty simple, especially now with the workflow designer. This is really easy to set up and it's low code compared to inbound email actions. You can do the same, but if I would take an inbound email action as an example, so let's go search for it, inbound actions. Here it is under system policy and email. It says inbound actions. So this is the way that normally would people would do the inbound processing of the emails. Also, you see here there is one that says create incident. If your type is new, so it's a new incoming email, that's basically the condition. Okay, so it's still loading a little bit. Yes. I could require a role. So let's say I want a user ID that's sending the email to require a certain role. Then I can set it up. But normally that's not really a case. Only if you want to have like a security restriction on it. And normally you had to go into actions and you had to set up the field actions, but you actually had to script what you want to do, get the user ID from you received it from the original email address. You can mention it in the comments, you put the short description. So this is a lot more coding that you normally needed to do. And now with the workflow, it's basically low code, and a lot more people without coding skills can set it up as well.
And what's the difference advantages of where you would use the workflow studio against, as you mentioned, the coding part? Is there
The
any
advan-
specific use cases?
Yeah, well, I ran to a business case recently that I thought I could do with the workflow designer, but eventually I couldn't. Because so what the workflow designer does really well is you can really map the fields on the incidents. Which fields do you want to fill with which information from the email? That works really well. But if you have, for example, an email coming from an external system and it has like a table in it with lots of different information and columns, and you want to fetch data from that table that is being sent, or you want to fetch specific information from the email body that, for example, is in a JSON format, which is a specific formatting type, then it gets tricky. And then it's better to use the inbound email action, as you can script that you can fetch specific terms that you want out of the email body. And then it's better just to use the scripting. But if you don't need any scripting, you don't have any complicated emails, the Workflow Studio is definitely the way to go.
So Wessa, how would we troubleshoot an email so we've got an email accounts set up, but how do
Mhm.
I troubleshoot to make sure it's connected?
So how it is connected is that you can, well, you can actually send an email and see within the email inbox, where did I add it? So if you search for received, you see email mailboxes inbound received.
Hmm.
Here it says all the emails that you have received, and by default it filters that you created on today.
Yep.
So you can check if it's actually receiving or received on your PDI. So if you actually get it, um,
If
compared
if if
to
if let's say then Wessel that we've checked that, but we are still not. Let's say the emails are not coming through on that list.
yeah
Is there a way if you go back to the email accounts? Because I noticed when you went back to one of the, I think it was email accounts. That's right. So you click onto the first one, the pop three,
yeah
and then there's one underneath the related links called test connection.
yeah Yeah, what this does is basically it's testing the connection with the server, with your credentials. So with this, you could check if your username and password are correct
Hmm.
and if it can connect to the server itself. If
Okay.
this is true, then 9 out of 10 it would work. If you press test connection and it says the connection is successful, but still an incident is not created,
Hmm.
what you can do within the flow is you see a toggle here there down as well. You can enable the error handler. What you can do then is you can set up, let's say I want to create an incident, or I want to create something, a message in the logs that I want to notice what exactly goes wrong, so you can easily debug it.
Perfect. Thank you, Wessel.
And you can use this for the entire workflow. So if you have several actions, and at some point something goes wrong, if you enable the error handler in the workflow, it will provide you an overview of what went wrong, and you can create your own incident or interaction or whatever kind of record you would like to have, and it just really makes it easy to debug.
Cool. That's really useful. I think it's useful from a troubleshooting perspective as well.
Yes. So yeah, it's really that simple. But if you have any questions, of course, feel free to reach out to Jerry or to myself. And as you saw now, we have an email account for this specific channel. So if you have any questions or maybe suggestions on things you would like to see on this channel, just send us an email. The email address was hrxitunplugged@gmail.com, which is another way of contacting us, basically.
And we'll pop it in the description as well in terms of under the description itself, so you can contact us. But I'm really excited, Wessel, that now we've got the email account set up. Again, let's look at some of the use cases that we get in our day-to-day working lives, and are able just to showcase that. And again, it's understanding what that value that we can demonstrate back to the organization. Again, around that automation, how do we save time? And make people's lives a lot easier when they're working.
Absolutely. So this is just our first video on and a simple task how to set up an email, but I think it's valuable for a lot of people because also in the community some people are struggling even with this, which is understandable because there's a lot of steps that you need to take. So really use the document that we shared before, and this video to go through the steps. But yes, we, like the channel mentions, we want to really deep dive into business cases that are real examples of where we ran into, and also how to make it easy for you to automate your HR and IT processes, but also to combine them to make them even stronger.
Yeah, and then also as well, maybe just to add as well, if you are watching this video and there's something that we may have missed out or something that you might have tried that is different, please let us know in the comments, because that's just a way of, for us to share amongst the community as well. So
Yeah.
thank you, Russell.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jerry. And I thank everybody for watching. And I will be very happy to show your our next video.
Yeah, and we'll see you very shortly. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Okay, bye.